Number 6, with 2 reigns, 541 days, the second highest amount of all time, The Rock, Don Morocco. Number 5, Randy the Macho Man Savage. 1 reign, 414 days, and a very memorable reign that it was that culminated with the match at WrestleMania 3. Again, you could spend all day talking about it, but we've already done that. We're going to move on. Number 4, we had a bit of an argument about this one because here I am trying to be objective and not put him at number 1. Bret the Hitman Hart. 2 reigns, 290 days. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we're talking about a guy that got Roddy Piper's best match, the Mounties' best match.
Mountie.
Yeah, neither of those accomplishments are anything to be scoffed at. But we're also talking about SummerSlam 1991 against Mr. Perfect, one of the best matches I've ever seen. And SummerSlam 1992, Wembley Stadium against the British Bulldog. You cannot deny how amazing that match is. And it was for the Intercontinental title. And to me...
You're going to call me next week, and I'll probably will be watching that match.
Exactly.
Just like, I think it was last week was Austin.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, that puts Bret Hart in the top 5. That match alone would honestly put him in my top 5. Number 3, Chris Jericho. 9 reigns, the most of anyone. 318 days. We did talk about his total, or his average per reign is only 35 days. But the Royal Rumble ladder match against Chris Benoit, to me, puts him in the top 3. That was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. Number 2, the Honky Tonk Man. 1 reign, 454 days, the single longest Intercontinental title reign in the history of the championship. Very respectable. He didn't have a whole lot of memorable matches, but, well, except for the way he lost the belt was pretty memorable to the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam 88. But overall, he's number 2 on my list for a reason. And number 1, totally shocked how low he was on your list, Pedro Morales.
He was on my list.
2 reigns. I'm surprised how low he was.
Oh, low he was.
2 reigns, 619 days. The greatest Intercontinental Champion, in my opinion, based solely off of just how long he had that belt over those 2 reigns. I mean, unbelievable. And I believe you said one of them was 425 days total?
425-day reign.
Very, very respectable Intercontinental Champion, and to me, that's why he ranks as number 1. Now, this list is not indicative of where these guys rank as all-time greats or anything like that. It's strictly based on what they did while they were Intercontinental Champions. So keep that in mind. Matt's list and my list of our favorite wrestlers is totally different. Mine's better. His isn't.
Oh, we're going to go that route. Okay.
Just kidding.
Just wait. One day we will reveal who my favorite wrestler is of all time, and you will see.
You will all email us and tell us how stupid it is. So it is what it is. I give Matt a lot of credit for holding true to who his favorite is, because I give him crap about it all the time.
Forever and always.
And I am not about to out him on this show. I'm going to let him tell you himself when he is ready. When we're ready to have that favorite wrestlers of all time conversation, we will have it. And when Matt is ready to give you that information, I will sit back and I will let him have the microphone and let him explain to you his favorite wrestlers. But that's our top 10 for the week. It took us, it took me a good amount of time to put this list together as it did the list from last week. We're going to be doing this every week. So if you have something that you want to be debated, if you have a top 10 that you think would be great for the show, please, by all means, send us an email. Let us know. It's nogimmicksradio@yahoo.com, spelled just how it sounds. I was very lucky to get that email address. It was not used already. Every other thing I tried was used up, but nogimmicksradio@yahoo.com. You'll see it flashing across the screen here, I'm sure. And please, feel free to send us an email about anything.
Yeah, we want to hear your top 10 Intercontinental Champions, too.
Absolutely. Send us your top 10 Intercontinental Champions. Send us your top 10 WWE Superstars of all time. And that was our top 10. Now, what we're going to get into now is our 5 must-see WWE home video. Now, this isn't like a top 5 or anything like that. This is just 5 of the WWE home video releases that we feel like anyone who's not familiar with the WWE home DVD product, anyone that's, I have a friend actually last week who asked me, I'm just starting to get back into wrestling. I didn't realize that WWE had such an extensive library out there of stuff that you can buy and take home. What would you suggest to get me back into it? So first thing I said, obviously, is get Netflix, because Netflix and WWE are partnering together. And right now, Netflix has a good collection of stuff that you can check out, and you pay your $8 a month, and you can watch it streaming on your Xbox or your computer or whatever. But as far as for home, this is what we have for a top 5. I will actually give mine first. These are the 5 in any order. Breaking the Code, Chris Jericho. I found that to be probably the most entertaining one that WWE's ever put out, and his story is great. Number 2, if you want to get really deep into the history of what professional wrestling was all about, the spectacular legacy of the AWA, you're talking about starts for guys like Hogan, Bobby Heenan, Gene Okerlund, Mr. Perfect, Jerry Lawler, Greg Gagne, the Killer Bees. I mean, the list goes on and on. The guys that started out in the AWA. I mean, Ric Flair was trained by Vern Gagne. Vern Gagne is, to me, the godfather of wrestling in the 80s. I mean, he really brought out what wrestling was in the 80s by training all these guys and showing them the ropes. So that's why I put that one in my list. I have The Rise and Fall of WCW. Another great collection. You're going to learn a lot about the NWA, how WCW started, Ted Turner's position in wrestling, learn about Eric Bischoff, all that stuff. Another one I have, just because I'm a fan, and it's one that I've watched more than any other one, The Best There Is, Best There Was, and The Best There Ever Will Be, the Bret Hart Collection. And not just because of the DVD itself, the match collection is priceless. I mean, it's got some of the most historic matches in wrestling. And also on my list, I put the McMahon DVD. I mean, why not learn about the original crazy man of wrestling, the guy who started it all?
He's the man. He's the man who has made what wrestling is today. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to learn all about his crazy story ideas.
All right, Matt, what do you got for the people?
All right, I've got, this is my first DVD that I owned. The Greatest Wrestling Stars of the 80s. What it's got, Sergeant Slaughter, it's got Piper, Hogan. Learn all about the guys who made that breakout decade.
Absolutely.
80s. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson.
Yeah, carried it into the 90s.
Roddy Piper's on there, the Junkyard Dog, Jimmy Snuka.
You learn about all those guys.
One guy I feel doesn't get enough play on our show is Jimmy Snuka. I'm gonna start mentioning the Superfly more.
Yeah, I haven't really mentioned him at all.
Randomly, I'll just be like Superfly, and then we can just keep going.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, we'll do that. Just throw him in there.
All right, what else you got?
I've got the Ultimate Ric Flair collection.
A must-have.
Oh, it's a must-have. All those promos he delivers.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to learn how great he was.
It also has the entire 1992 Royal Rumble.
That is my favorite Rumble, actually.
Great Rumble.
That is my favorite one to watch. It's priceless. It's not fair to Flair.
It's not fair to Flair.
It's not fair to Flair. Number 3, the Monday Night Wars. That is also a reason how wrestling is today.
I can't believe I left that out of my list. That is an epic DVD.
It's an amazing documentary. You can hear all the dirty tactics each of the companies use.
It goes hand in hand with the Rise and Fall of WCW, right. But they're both pretty unique and both must-haves. And with the difference between the two is you get interviews from two different sides. With the Monday Night Wars, you hear a lot more from the WWE guys, but like with the Rise and Fall of WCW, like Goldberg's part of it. I think DDP. Mm-hmm. DDP did a big interview about the Karl Malone stuff that they did.
Yeah, he did. Yes, yeah.
Very, very good.
I mean, that's just an important DVD. The Monday Night Wars, the '90s. That's what.
That's when it boomed.
Breathed new life into wrestling. Yeah, so
for sure.
Number 4, the Rise and Fall of ECW.
That is a fantastic DVD.
The story those guys went through, bouncing paychecks, not knowing when they get paid.
And these are all things that you just never realize are going on at the time.
No, and doing it for the love of the game, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think I also have the Rise and Fall of WCW. You get that NWA history, and you get a lot of great matches on there. You get a lot of Sting matches, so those are not very common on WWE DVDs.
Yeah, especially if you're a fan of the stuff Sting did in the early days, the Four Horsemen stuff. Yeah. If you like that stuff, then that's the route to go for you. That is a fantastic DVD to own. So that's it. That's the must-see WWE home video. For anyone that's not totally familiar with their extensive library of what they've released, if you're someone who's been out of the quote business or out of the game for a long time, that's a great place to jump right back in and get started again. Now, obviously, we excluded box sets. WWE, very smart, very intelligently, has released box sets of all their big events. I have a couple myself. The WrestleMania box set of every event. I have every Royal Rumble from 1993 to 2002. That was kind of my era where I really enjoyed the Royal Rumble, so those are available. I also have like the first portion of the SummerSlam box set. And what's good about it is they don't just release it as one big package. They split them up and you can buy them in 5-year increments, so it's a little more affordable. And, they've got some great products out there. I mean, say what you want about their product they're putting out on TV currently, but the history is there and they know how to present it to the people. Definitely. And I personally enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, you can't argue with that library. I mean,
it's all about being a fan. Yeah. I mean, you think about the companies and the rights that they purchased from AWA, WCCW, the NWA. I mean, that's no joke. I mean, that's the most intense and serious library of wrestling ever.
Yeah. I mean, you name it, they pretty much got it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this week we're not going to give you the results for the Monday Night Raw show or the TNA show. We figure there's enough internet out there that if you wanted to know what happened, you'd either watch it or you would have already looked it up. So we're not going to waste your time with that. We are not doing an Under the Radar this week. We just could not debate the right person and figure it out. But luckily, we did get some viewer emails. We really, really appreciate you guys sending us feedback. I was really happy and really surprised to look at my inbox and see that we have some people listening. We have some people that are getting into the show. So we've got 3 to get into. We're going to read the question, and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. And the first one is from a guy named Jason. He didn't give us the city he's from. Jason, I want to thank you for being the first ever email question to No Gimmick Radio. Jason's question is, overall, what's your opinion of the current state of professional wrestling? Now, this is a topic you could literally debate it for hours. We're going to try and narrow it down to just a couple minutes here. But personally, I feel, at least over the last decade, you could say from April to December, wrestling is just putrid. It's at its worst because you're coming off WrestleMania. It's just a dead season. I mean, January, obviously, it picks back up and things go back into high gears. You get on the road to WrestleMania. I mean, they pull all the rabbits out of the hat from January to the end of March. But I feel after that, it just dies off. I mean, it's almost like there's this work from December and January where they're just putting all this information and all this fuel into this one thing. And then they spend those few months just burning the jets and just doing everything they can think of and all this awesome high-energy stuff. And then it dies off. Now, to be fair, the WWE makes enough money from WrestleMania to operate all year. They could have 3 guys standing in the ring farting on each other for the rest of the year, and they would have enough money from WrestleMania to feed themselves for the rest of the year. But the current state, as of today, it's not great.
Yeah, there was no really good fallout from WrestleMania at all. I mean, we had that next night, then they built the main event for WrestleMania 28. I mean, there was no good real fallout.
And
Cole and Lawler continued 3 months after that.
Yeah,